welcome everybody to this just addition to Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, with my other host, who don't have the earphones in. Other host, Damon and Jaquari Armstrong. We have special guests tonight. We have Derrick Hill. We have
Brother.
William Scarborough. We have
What's
Andre
going on?
Mullins, and we have Keith Barnes.
How's everybody?
Gregory Gant should be being with us, get with us a little bit later. But welcome to you, gentlemen. Jaquari, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I ain't got a lot to complain about, but it matters to me, So it's on my mind, man. But everything's cool.
Okay, Damon, what's up, bro? How are you today?
Man, I'm feeling blessed today, man. I'm really excited about this particular podcast, man. And I'm here to learn, man. You know what I'm saying?
So what we do here, guys, even though you guys been on, I want our audience to know what we do is we greet everybody in the beginning. So Andre, how you doing today? How was your day?
Well, I'm blessed today. I'm blessed. I was at the work spot today, and it was one of the days. Yeah, Freaky Fridays we call them, Freaky Fridays.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, but no one got severely hurt, so it's a blessing.
Cool, man. William Scarborough, how are you today, brother?
Hey, man, I'm just glad to be above the ground. Glad to see everybody. It's Friday, and it's the Super Bowl weekend, so everything is good.
hey, hold on now. Why is everything good in Super Bowl when you're a Dallas Cowboy fan? I know you're sick right now.
Well, yeah. Well, I am, but that's another story.
No doubt. Keith Barnes, how are you today, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing great. You know how I am. I had beautiful weather, as you know, today, so I had a chance to get out and get on the motorcycle, get some two-wheel therapy in. Everything was good.
My man. If we got time tonight, I'm gonna tell you about that legend right there. Derrick Hill, how are you today, sir?
I'm good, brother. Blessed. See another day to be above ground. Get to see my wife, my daughter, and everybody. I can't complain, man. I got shelter. I got food. So I'm good, brother. Cable TV, I'm good, brother.
That's the key right there, cable TV, boy. Streaming services. That's what's up. Hey, look, we're gonna do some house cleaning because this is what I like to do in the beginning. But first, let me explain this. We have three different segments in our podcast. I have the first segment, right? That's Big Dog Logic. I named it that, but that's what it is. Halftime would be Jaquari, and then Damon's gonna bring us home. Okay? Look. Our goal today is to be as informative as possible with each other, and hopefully our audience will get to see where we're coming from. All right? Now, okay. I need you to go to our channel, like, share, and subscribe, especially subscribe. So if you see this, go to our YouTube channel, Strong Perspective Podcast. Subscribe to it. That takes 30 seconds. That's it. We got great content. This is what we're about. This is what we're going to do. All right? Now, my segment is Big Dog Logic. So, my host and our guest, I hope y'all indulge me because I'm getting a little experimental tonight. But here we go. First of all, KRS-One. Black cop, black cop, black cop, black cop. Black cop. Right? NWA. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Brother got it bad because I'm brown. I started my career in my 20s, about 23 years old. And those songs that I just attempted to mimic blared on my radio. I had a trooper, a champagne-colored trooper, running up and down the road. Dre, you remember? Amos, Shaquar, y'all
I
remember?
was there.
Yes, sir. Up and down the road, putting it on 10. And guess what I was doing at the same time? Clocking in work every day, being a law enforcement officer. What's so crazy about it is, being young, you don't understand.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? And what I did was, I thought I had to make a choice. But really and truly, the only choice is to be either law enforcement, straight edge, or be with the brothers and the sisters who skirting the outskirts of things, right? But really and truly, what I had to realize was this: you on this earth to be who you are, not who you think anybody else think you should be. But if you're the type of person who want to do what's right, you do the best thing that you can. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't care what anyone says. That's how I feel. And that's enough for me. I was raised enough to carry myself where people would look at me and say, that brother he has home training. There's what it is. Yes, sir. Because I don't believe in mistreating anyone. But if you push me to that edge, we're going to have a problem. That's big dog logic. All right? Now, let me just say this to you, two things. At the bottom of the screen, I'm going to be doing two things tonight. At the bottom of the screen, we have 4 young brothers, semi-young brothers. One of them, he close to us and them, who are trying, and also Andre Mullins, because I'm going to be putting your website up here. It's going to be their website at the bottom. Please go to the website and look around, because you might find something that you love. You notice I didn't say you like, that you love. I'm planting that seed for you. All right? But throughout this whole podcast, you're going to see 5 different websites. Copy them down and just go. Go check them out. You know what I'm saying? If it's not a website, call them up. Call them brothers up. Because all of them are trying to make a way for themselves, but also influencing the community. Okay? Now, tonight's show, what we're going to do, I call it a show because it is what it is. We're here to entertain ourselves. But tonight's episode, we're talking about, we have 1, 2, 4 retired LEOs up here. We have 2 current juvenile folks who dealing with our youth. And what we want to do is talk about amongst ourselves and include you into the conversation, how we feel. Now, if you disagree and you want to comment on it, as long as you're not on some bullshit, comment it, and I know one of us will answer your question. Okay? Now, the build-up is the build-up. I said I got my big dog logic in. So what we're going to do, we're going to start from the folks who still working. we're going to start from the folks who still working. So y'all can remind us, retired people, what it means to work. So, Andre, what I need from you, brother, is this. I need you to talk about you as a young man starting into your profession all the way up to now. Give us about least 3 to 4 minutes of that, if you can, brother.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, my name is Andre Mullins. So yeah, I started in juvenile detention back in 1993. So I figure I might have been like 23 years old, 22, 23, like you said. I got in there because I just like a friend of mine was telling me like, "Yo, come work with these kids," and I was like, "I'm not trying to work with no badass kids." And he's like, "Come work with the kids. I think you'd be good." I'm like, "I'm trying to work with no badass kids." But then one day I reached in my pocket and all I came out was lint. I was like, "Y'all still hiring with them badass kids?"
That's real.
And
That's real.
so I went in there and started working. Um, it was just when I first started, it was just kind of funny because you just get in there, but you don't know the rules of things, right? So some of the stuff that the kids was into, since I was kind of close in age with them, I was into the same thing. So when they walked through the hall singing a song, I'm like, oh, that's cool, but they ain't supposed to be talking when they walk through the hall. So those things I was kind of ignorant to those type of things, right? But really, I was ignorant to that. Surprisingly, I was ignorant to was the plight of the kids. So when I started going to visitation and things like that, I started seeing like why the kids' behavior might have been the way it was, right? So their home life wasn't my home life. I was privileged as a child, right? So to see some of their kids and the dynamics they were dealing with, I was like, oh, I can see why I might even be worse because I was already on the borderline and I had privilege. So nevertheless, I started I started really trying to educate. I was like, oh, and I started realizing like as I was learning myself and learning about us, our plights of people and things of that nature, I would started trying to educate the youth. So every payday I would get like 2 books. But then I would bring them books to the facility and ignorantly enough, I would try to spill the information as I was learning it. And I really didn't even master it. I had the knowledge of it, but I didn't have the understanding of it, right? But nevertheless, I was trying to put it on them. So that was how I was doing. I left there, Pennsylvania. I was in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. I left, went to New York, went back home to New York, started working at Spofford Juvenile Center. Spofford, notorious in New York. That's the detention center. So I was working in there. That was kind of different too because it was the same, but it was different because the staff was a little bit more involved with the kids back then. So what you had was a lot of staff that were like guys from the benches in the neighborhood, you know what I mean, called a good city job, able to work with kids, and they was giving back. And the women, the guys and the women were giving back. So although you had staff was trying to educate the youth and things of that nature. So I worked in New York juvenile detention for 18 years. So y'all talk that retirement stuff, I'd be kind of mad though, in a way, because I'll be retiring next year if I was still there.
Yeah.
I'd be ready to be sitting up with y'all. But I mean, I don't regret my move. But nevertheless, so I worked there for a while. But I did everything from frontline staff, from a juvenile counselor, frontline staff. I was a caseworker. I was a executive assistant to the commissioner of the whole department. I was a deputy director of programs, trainer. So I did a little bit of everything when I was in New York. Then I came down to DC, DMV area, and I started working here as an assistant superintendent of one of the facilities here. And then now I'm a superintendent of one of the facilities here in Maryland. I love the business. I really like it and stay to the business. And how am I looking time-wise? But I like to stay to the
Oh, you
business.
good, man? Come on, man. We're good.
I like and stay to the business because I really feel it's our children, right? So like 85% of the youth in there are black and brown, right? So I feel I was in there today giving the spill because some of the brothers and sisters were a little restless in there today, so they needed some guidance. But so I like that opportunity. I love that because some of our kids is a captive audience that give us an opportunity to kind of drop some jewels on them and try to hopefully plant some seeds that hopefully help them. Like I don't care that the seeds don't really resonate with them. See, sorry, here go right here. I'm sorry, brothers and sisters.
All right. Hey, Quard, it's on you, brother. And understand something. This is what we're doing. We not steadfast by that 3 to 4 minutes, but be conscious of it and do your due. It's on you, Jaquar.
All right. I started back in 2011, man. 2011. I was at like a transitional point in my life, man. You know, the job I was working, I was in charge of security at courthouse in Fairfax County, and I worked up through the ranks, through the security ranks or whatever. Started off, as a grunt, and worked my way up, and I thought everything was going to be cool because, now I had a title, and but that was basically the first experience I'd had with supervision and leadership at that point, and I thought it was a blueprint to it. There is a blueprint to it, but it's not exact. That being said, working in the courthouse, man. And just being a witness to all the young people who was coming through there, with these blank expressions on their face because they didn't know what was going to happen to them. They had no idea what the judge was going to say, and having pulled aside, several young men and women, and not try to talk them through it, but try to give them that little inspiration, I would say, to walk in that courtroom with their back straight and deal with the situation. That was the first experience that I really had, working with young people. And it wasn't working directly with young people, but I come to a point in that job, man, where I was burned out, because I took a lot of abuse on that job, man, seriously. And I just needed to change, man. And it struck me funny, from yesterday's conversation, man, when everybody was talking about their origin stories, they all talked about how they basically fell into, this situation, working with law enforcement or kids, in certain capacities wasn't everybody's first option, and having experience in this field, man, I could see why that is, because there's not a lot of quite frankly, it's not a lot of success stories. It's not a lot of success stories, man. It takes a certain person, a certain kind of personality, man, to not internalize that and take that poison on into their own lives, But I had applied for, my facility, man, and I hadn't heard anything. My wife applied. She told me offhand one day she applied, and I didn't give it a second thought. The next thing I knew, it was a year later. It was a solid year later, and things at the courthouse were just like, everything was my fault. I don't even want to get into that, but I was just done with it, and I needed something different. So when they called me, as soon as they answered the phone, or as soon as I answered the phone, I said yes. I didn't care what the position was. It didn't matter to me. It was something different. And it was more money, and it was a county position. That's all I wanted at the time. That stability, or what I thought to be stability. And it was I went through some changes trying to actually secure the job, which told me, man, that that was something that I was meant to do. Because if I had got the job easily, man, I probably would have went in with a certain mindset. But I knew it was going to be hard. And I think my only mistake is thinking that it was going to be totally fruitless, because it hasn't been totally fruitless, man. This job has given me so many different things, man. Seriously, it's so many different opportunities, man. But as I said, I started off in the control room. I wasn't frontline staff, but even that point of view, man, even that camera bird's eye point of view, kind of hit me into some of the psychology of young people, because you can tell a lot by a person if you're not able to hear what they're saying, or witness their verbal interactions. Of all you can see is their body language and how they position themselves, even when even when it's not a hot situation, even when it's not a fight. They're always hyper vigilant, and that hypervigilance rubs off on the kids and staff, man. So when I was blessed enough to get a frontline staff job, man, I came out, man, and I was. It's Mr. Cliche. I was on a mission. I had somebody to save. And I don't know. Well, I hope I didn't hurt anybody in the process. Because information, it's relative, man. It could either be bad. It could either be good or bad, man. But I felt like it was important for them to see me in that position, man, and putting out a certain vibe or whatever. You know, I'm not really I didn't really want to bring any negativity to the position. You know what I mean? And I did that for a couple of years, man. And you know, this position opened up. I'm in now, man. I'm a life skills coordinator, man. So you know, it's been an adventure, man. There's specific rules and parameters about, you know, how I do my job, just like everybody else has rules and parameters about how they do their job. But you know, it really, I think I set myself apart because, you know, I add something to it. You know, there's a way that the program is supposed to go, and I definitely adhere to that way. But when you're dealing with young people, it's a necessity sometimes to go above and beyond, you know, what they actually see, what they actually read, or what you're actually trying to teach them then. So that's where, you know, I've been able to impart some of my own life lessons or whatever, you know, and I keep it real. I keep it embarrassingly real, you know, because everything I went through, my father went through, my brothers went through. You gentlemen, I'm quite sure you had situations that are quite similar to mine. And in the majority of those situations, we failed, man. We lost the game. But did we lose the game? Because that information, man, those pearls are so important, man. Those pearls are meant to be passed on to people who hunger for them, man. You know, a lot of these kids don't want to be in these situations. They don't want to be in these situations, but they don't know. They just don't know how to take the next step, man. You know, so that's in a nutshell, bro.
All right, now I want to explain to everybody first. Dean O'Brien, held the pit, baby. I don't know if I responded to you, but I responded on YouTube. But I'm glad you're tuning in, baby. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. So I want to point this out before we go any further. There is a dynamic where Andre and Jaquar, they have a chance to save these kids. Now, once we go into the next group of people, it's the ones, they deal with the ones who could be saved or who don't have a chance to be saved, but they deal with them. And I'm curious to hear from these guys. And we'll start with
But
William.
real quick, big dog, can I just interject real quick?
Go ahead.
I just want to end and say one thing I say about I grew up in detention. So I started when I was 23. I was just trying to become a man myself. And now I'm here today still doing it at this age, 30 years later. And I say that to say that I grew up in there. So the man I became today, detention plays a big part in that. And dealing with them, the youth that I deal with, made me have to move a certain way. And I started really seeing that the world was bigger than myself, so to speak. So it's definitely a rewarding, fruitful type of job. I would say, though, the hardest job in detention to me at this time, real quick, is being in the position I'm in today, though, right? Because I can do the job, and I can try to train some people to do the job, but I'm responsible for everybody that does the job, no matter how good or bad they do it.
It's a great responsibility.
Right? So that's the challenge, because you know what it should look like. You've done it. You could train some people to do it, but nowadays the ability to get some of the staffing in that generation is kind of different. So in that regard, this is probably the most difficult challenge I've ever had in detention. Because me working with kids directly, that ain't no problem at all. I love it every day. We good. I've been fortunate enough, and I could get knocked out, assaulted tomorrow. But in 30 years, no one has ever assaulted me, attempted to assault me, or anything. And I worked on with the most aggressive units across the land. So I've been blessed in that way, but it's out of respect and everything like that, because I love them. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to add that. Appreciate it.
That's a great point. And look, first of all, you're here to learn about yourselves, and people are here to learn about who you are and why you do what you do. William Scarborough,
Yes, sir.
You up, sir?
Well, look, I started in this process back in '87, and like a couple of guys ahead of me, I started at the Department of Corrections. Um, I feel like even though I was there a short time, right at not quite a good year, I learned a lot and I was taught a lot. I think the good thing that helped me was that during that time, people really cared about showing you the ropes, making sure that you did the right things. Um, I had probably two of the best training officers that anybody could ever have. They didn't take shortcuts. They went by the book because I was working in a maximum custody prison, and the thing about that, these guys they were gonna never see the outside of the world again. They were either lifetime or death row. They was never gonna ever. So you had to, and I was young. I was probably 20. Then when I went to the prison system, I may have been 21, 22 at the most, and fresh
Talk.
out of college. So I left there and I went to the sheriff's office in 1988. Um, Again, I had folks that cared about me as a human being. Was trained, uh, taught to one to be respectful to other human beings. Um, During that time, it was more of a family. You know, you didn't have folks trying to step over you to get to the next level. Uh, you like I would treat you gave respect and you were treated respect. And so with all that happening, it allowed me to put in my time to serve the citizens, and eventually it allowed me to earn a pension from it. When I was young, I was 52 when I walked out the door with a full 30 years of service. So, but I have a lot of thanks. I had a lot of people, such as yourself, Keith Armstrong, that helped me along the way. That gave me advice, uh, suggestions. When I needed to be called out, I got called out. But in the same token, because these folks were in my lives, it allowed me to go out and do my job, but also to go out here and treat folks the way that I wanted to be treated, and so forth. So that's pretty much the nuts and the bolts of my career.
Okay. 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 Um, we'll touch on this later, but I'm gonna tell you, everybody that's on this podcast, I asked to come on here for a reason because they're strong individuals as men, but also as deputies and detention officers, whatever. So, Derrick, we coming to you, brother.
What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all feel tonight?
How you doing,
All
brother?
right.
Good, good. My journey started in 1999. A good friend of mine, like I said, a good friend of mine. I had no intentions on becoming law enforcement, none whatsoever. But he presented the opportunity to me. He told me, go ahead and take the test, go ahead and take the physical assessment, go ahead and take the written, and we'll go from there. So I was just blessed to get on. Once I got on, I was never nervous. Well, let me backtrack. I was a little nervous when I went through with my FTO officer. When I went through with my FTO officer, I was nervous. Never was that nervous when I went through the academy. But when I got on with my FTO officer, I was pretty much nervous because I can still remember to this day my FTO officer didn't take no shorts, no shortcuts, didn't cut no corners. He was strictly by the book. His thing was either you knew it or you didn't. And if you didn't know it, he was not going to sign off on you. So my FTO officer was excellent, man. He gave me the tools and the knowledge and everything that I needed to get through that thing, man. And if anybody tell me they wasn't scared, I tell you get away from me. Because the first day they let me go, the first night I was on shift, I was scared as all outdoors. And if anybody tell me, oh, I wasn't scared, you're lying. Because I was scared and nervous. Especially when I did my first traffic stop. I was nervous when I was getting out of the car. I was like, man, what have I got myself into? I don't even know this person in this next car over here, but man, I was scared as all outdoors, man. I tell you, and I tell you, when I got out of the vehicle, I popped my holster. You know, you know, you know what I mean. But that was a great experience for me, and I did 5 years as a deputy with Hampton Sheriff's Department, which is located in Hampton, Virginia. 5 years as a deputy. Then I did 2 years as campus police at Hampton University. My wife got a job down here at NC State. She got a coaching gig down here. So for 2 years, I was transporting back and forth between Hampton, Virginia and Raleigh. I did it for 2 years. Then I said, you know what, I need to stop. Let me come on down here and be with my family. So when I got down here, I was blessed to get on with Wake County. And Wake County offered me a detention position, which was one of the best things that I've done. Because not only did I know the LEO side, now I'm knowing the correction side of it. So I knew the best of both worlds. I had the LEO experience, now I'm getting the corrections experience. And the thing about corrections, you have to be a people's person. You have to have a good talk game. And you have to treat everybody like human beings. You cannot go in there thinking you better or I'm above you or you beneath me. You cannot do that. You have to treat people like they're human beings. You're not there to judge them. The only person that they're going to get judged by is that man in that black robe across the street. That's who's going to judge you. You're there to do your job. You're not there to judge anybody. You're not there to beat up anybody. You're not there to do anything. You're there to do your job and treat everybody like human beings. Because guess what? Some of them guys that you treat like human beings, they'll be some of the same guys that'll save your life.
That's real.
Some of them same guys come up to you and give you information. Hey, man, this is what's going on. So that was a total blessing being on the correction side at Wake County. And then not only that, the camaraderie between detention officers and deputies. For me, my experience with deputies was outstanding. I knew so many deputies. To me it was, it was no big deal to me. I mean, sometimes some people say, that deputy, and Keith might know what I'm talking about. That deputy, that detention officer. That to me, that I had no problem with that. Like a sergeant told me years ago, we're all one big wheel. If one spoke breaks, guess what? The whole thing collapsed.
Yeah.
So we're all in this game together. But I've just been blessed to be in this field, man, and to serve. And that's pretty much what we're here to do, fellas. We're here to serve and to protect individuals. And for me, I think over the years I've done an excellent job at that. It's protecting individuals that cannot protect themselves or need protection. And that's pretty much, the sum of it.
Okay. Great job, man, so far. Keith,
Mm-hmm.
what after you, And then Jaquar, we're going into halftime, so get your head right. Then you got the halftime segment for us, baby. But it's on you, Keith.
Okay. Um, I started out in 1992, and me also. I wasn't. I had just gotten out of the military, and my intentions was to get into trucking or transportation, try to learn that, and then start my own business. And what happened was I came back to the United States from overseas, and I was still driving like I was overseas. Got too many speeding tickets. And,
You was on the Autobahn, man.
yeah, they suspended my license for 90 days. So I had to find something to do. So my brother come by and asked me, he said, "Hey man, you can work detention at the sheriff's office." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Yeah, well, I'll do that. I'll work that for a year, give everything time to clear up my record and everything else, and I'll go back in." But anyway, in the meantime, I did some ride-alongs and got to interact with law enforcement and formed a liking to it. And then, of course, I had a couple people that were doubters saying that I couldn't do it. So that motivated me to get more in depth. I learned a whole lot about people in the process. And when I mean the people that you work with, something that Keith would say to me all the time it struck me funny, but it was so true. He talked about it. He said that, man, we are the greatest group of associates in this apartment. We all come together, we talk, we high five, we laugh, we got stories and stuff. But when we go home, we go home. We don't interact at all. So I found that out, and I found out that everybody wearing the same uniform as you isn't on your team. So yeah, I grew up a whole lot in that. But I started out in detention, and that's uh, worked that for a year. Put myself through the academy. I didn't let them send me. I went to the tech, put myself through the academy, got a sponsor, department to sponsor. Then I got rehired, and then that's when it got interesting. I think last time I was on, I might have mentioned it that I worked 8 years at that department, and for 8 years they didn't issue me a vest. So I was
I
driving
remember
around.
that
I was
story.
sworn deputy. I didn't have a bulletproof vest.
Oh my God.
Somebody in the community uh, made one. This older guy that did crafts and stuff, he made me one out of steel, and I'd wear it, and it felt like I was sitting on a barrel
Look,
because it didn't bend.
hey Keith,
So
bamboo, and steel.
yeah, he was pure steel, and he was laughing when he said, "Hey, it'll keep a bullet out of you, and if somebody's standing close enough and they shoot you, they'll kill themselves with the ricochet." So I was so needless to say, man, when I got out, I mean, I had Clint Eastwood and have nothing on me, man. I could draw. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't scared. But if you were coming at me ridiculous and I didn't know what you were gonna do, oh, I was quick on the draw, man. Yeah. So, uh, but once I got through that, I did the 8 years, and I was really at the end. I was really ready to get out of law enforcement. I did a transport to Wake County, and when I went up there, I went in to the. I was getting ready to leave, and something told me don't leave the salad port. It said go in there and ask for an application. So I went up to the front desk and I spoke to Bethina. She's really nice, and she gave me a whole packet. I wasn't expecting that. I thought she was going to send me to through some red tape. She come out with a whole package. She said, fill that out. She said, when you coming back again? I said, well, I'll actually have another transport the end of the week. She said, bring it back then, turn it in, and I'll put the paperwork in for you. I did, and no lie, 2 weeks later, uh, Ren, Scarborough, and Armstrong, know what I'm talking about, but called me and said, you still want to work? with the sheriff's office? I said, yeah. And she said, well, how soon can you start? I said, I'll start tonight. I said, I'm ready to go. So they went on and got me into it, and that's kind of how the ball got rolling, how I got the Wake County. And once I got to Wake County, it was like a dream. I went in there, they gave me everything but underwear and socks. I had a vest. I even had a whistle. I was telling them when I got back home, I said, man, they gave me a whistle.
Oh, man.
And I talked about them so good. Four detention officers came with me. After I got hired, 4 detention officers came with me. So that's how I got started.
Okay. We're gonna go into your halftime, Jaquari. But let me just say this: I wasn't surprised when me and Keith, because we was partners for a whole, the whole time. We always clicked. But then, a couple years we was actually partners. We were school resource officers. We was partners in the high school, the worst high school in the whole county, right? And we would sit around and chop it up. And I wasn't surprised when he said that he was ready to go because he had to buy bullets where he was coming from.
Yeah.
No, that's a bad joke. But
no, that's
it
the
was,
truth.
it was
That ain't no
reduced
joke.
it was reduced to that point where the deputies was responsible for the bulk of the stuff, and they wasn't getting paid a lot. You know what I mean? So this is halftime of our situation, everybody.
So y'all was like the school teachers then, huh? Had to buy your own supplies and stuff, huh?
Yeah, man. I got up
That's
here.
a
You
damn
should saw my
shame, man.
face when they told me what CCBI was. First B&E I went to. I had to go and I would say, well, where the fingerprint kit and all that? He said, man, we don't do that. I said, who is that CCBI? Oh, they do all that. I said, y'all got that?
Yeah, we didn't have to do none of that. Jaquari, this is halftime, brother. This is your segment. Have you named your segment yet, brother?
I haven't, man, but I'm doing that because I'm just difficult.
Okay, it's on you then, my guy.
I'm gonna let it there. I'm gonna let it.
This is halftime of the difficult segment.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm gonna let a name birth itself. But hey man, before just a little ways before I got on with y'all tonight, man. I asked myself a question, man. When did I turn into this guy? It seems like every time I feel like I got all my ducks in a row, something happens. I'm not complaining. Not really. I'm just stating what I believe to be facts, right? I want to talk about the word resilience. One more time, resilience. All right. Now ask yourself, what does that word mean to you? And to me, it means having respect for a dude who could take a punch. Now I battled with that for a long time, man, because I'm like, why do we praise people for being able to take a punch? It just don't make sense for me. It means that somebody, the world or their opponent, somebody's kicking their ass, but they keep on coming. Even if they get knocked down, they stand up and they keep on coming. That's resilience. That's what it means to me, man. Because in life, man, you're going to get punched. You're going to get hit. It might not be physically. As a matter of fact, the majority of the time is mentally. You take your blows, but you figure out your way through it. It don't give you no breaks. Life and the situations don't give you no breaks, man. So you gotta come to a point in your life where you ask yourself, man, what kind of person am I, man? What kind of man am I? Am I gonna let this situation break me down? Is that who my parents raised? And it's at that point, man, where if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you gotta answer that question. It's not a question you can put off. Not if you plan. Not if you put. Not if you plan to survive this thing called life. I mean, human beings. Being the higher animals that we are, man, we're the only beings on the face of the earth that acknowledge all of our situations, man. You don't see a bear in the woods, pissed off and not knowing what to do because his old lady is on his back. You don't see that out of animals, man. We conjure up these situations and make them much worse than they actually are. Resilience has a place, man, and it's always had a place, in our community, man. And it's one of the things that we unfortunately don't take a lot of time to teach, man. And that's like an oxymoronic statement, man, because you can't teach resilience, man. The only thing that can teach resilience is life and experience and getting through to the other side. That's the only thing that can teach that, man. But the opportunities we have to bring it up and talk about it, man, we neglect those opportunities, man, and we dropping the ball for a lot of especially young people, because me being 50 years old, I'm put in a position where I have a lot of young people's ears, not just through the course of my job, man, but just through everyday interactions. People need to hear about some of our failures. They need to hear about some of our failures, because those failures, man, those could be used to nourish, somebody who's seeking something, man. They might be going through something similar, and you might have a gem to drop. The trick is the delivery. Once you start to preach to a person, they turn their attention on. So, if you can hand those gems out subtly, then, you could be a very powerful, component in a person's life. If you think about it, it's what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5. It's 6 of us, 7 of us on this panel. When's the last time any of you had anybody come to you, man, woman, child, young or old? When's the last time anybody's come to you and said, hey, I need your advice. I need your help with this. It hasn't happened a lot with me. But, as I said before, to interject yourself into someone's life, that's a no-no. People aren't going to let you do that. So you have to be open and present enough in your interactions with people to understand that something is off. If your relationship is as solid as for you to be able to ask them what's going on, you should do that. You should extend yourself. But if not, let them talk. Let them talk.
No doubt.
Be resilient. Let's preach resilience, man. Don't nothing feel as good as the start of blowing up as the comeback. Because I can speak from experience, man. I'm a comeback kid, and I can take a punch, baby.
No doubt.
But watch out when I start giving them. Peace.
Peace. Yo, Damon, it's on you, man. You heard everybody speak. All right. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to say you on a time limit because you be bitching about that. But go ahead, hit us in the head, man, and then we're going to go into our next question.
I'm gonna keep it simple, man. I listen to Dre. I listen to everybody, man. I'm listening to a guy talk about not having the right equipment and shit. I'm listening to a guy who has to differentiate. You know what I'm trying to say, between understanding the young cats because you're not that much older than them, but trying to find that balance between that. And then Jacory talking about resilience, man. That is key and that's pivotal, man. Because when you're dealing with resilience, man, you're going against something that might speak against your constitution. You know what I'm saying? And you have to figure out a way to maintain your integrity, and who you are as a person. You know what I'm saying? And see, I don't think that's what the public recognize about all you guys, man. Because it's all the political thing. You know what I'm saying? Who can argue, who can talk the loudest, who can point out the most examples of who doing wrong or whatever. But see, the one thing I've recognized, man, this is my last point, is that as I listen to all y'all bringing yourselves into the situation. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to find the right balance. And in trying to find the right balance, you're dealing with administration, you're dealing with the public, and everybody is at you. But nobody's paying attention to what your personal shit is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's paying attention to that. Nobody wants to hear that. You know what I'm saying? And as I listen, I'm that guy who worked in the same field, but I quit because I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't balance the administration. I couldn't balance what the streets were saying. You know what I'm saying? And in that struggle, the one thing I recognize, man, that nobody asked me what my family going through. Nobody asked me that question. No, man, you chose to do that job, so do your job. Yeah, but you bringing your humanity in that. You bringing your humanity into that situation. So that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm hearing. Because I look at all these brothers on here, and I'm listening to their personal thing, and it's like, wow, man. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. This man retired, and he had to deal with that situation. Going to work every day. Administration expect you to do the job with their politic bullshit, whatever it is. So the first thing you have to do to maintain employment is to strike the right balance, man, to be able to maintain. Because what is your goal? And this is a question for all y'all. What was your goal, man, in the beginning? Was it just to do a job to retire from, or did you want to make a difference? And then making a difference, man, requires what you're dealing with and going through every day that people choose to ignore. You know what I'm saying? And I'm amazed, man, that all of you guys, man, had the ability, and Dre and Jacory, y'all still going through it, but the rest of y'all guys, man, y'all did that shit, man. With the, dare I say, the world against you. But I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but did it feel like that, man, at times?
At times, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all did that. So they should be doing conferences on what the hell y'all experiences are. Not the political shit, but what y'all actually went through and how y'all maintained it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the public at large knows that about y'all, man, and the jobs that y'all did. I don't think the public knows that. You know, they expect you to keep your humanity when y'all between a rock and a hard place, and nobody's respecting your humanity. Your humanity. Am I making sense?
You making perfect sense.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So right. I mean, that's what I have to say about that. But like I said, I'm here to learn, man, because I'm seeing y'all teaching me something. I'm seeing shit different.
And these next group of questions is going because for real, these men are relaying to you how they feel, and you're receiving it, and we can tell that you are. Okay, now. Once we this next group of questions, we talked about them last night, but the public is getting ready to hear them. I'm going to blend two questions together, and these questions actually go together. And the way we talked about last night, you guys should be good. But let me just say this: the purpose of this is we have men on here who are working every single day and retired from occupations where they show strength, they show resilience. Now, you may not agree with every view that they had, but the one thing that they did was and this is rare, they retired from a position, this law enforcement position, with their heads still intact. And I'm talking about outwardly now. The interpersonal struggles, I understand. And these men know that if you need to speak on it, call me and I'll listen. You got me? So my next question is this, because that was halftime. And really and truly, I really need to know this about you guys. Even though I know it about you, I want you to relay it. So the question is, blended question, two questions blended together, right? While you worked and you're still working, do you ever feel like you are a sellout to your community? And if you do, or do not, what do you think the misconceptions of what you do for a living or did for a living most folks don't know? Everybody understand that question?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go with the law enforcement side of this thing. All right. And we're gonna start with you, Bill.
Well, first,
Unless you're not ready.
I'm ready, baby.
All right,
Hold
let's
on,
go.
let me get my paper, my pen and paper,
Yeah.
man.
You make sure you take notes. Look,
Yeah.
Well, first, the first answer to that question, no, I don't. I've never felt like I was a sellout to my community. Um, just going back a little bit, when I was a young boy coming up, um, with a single parent, I was going to be the one that wasn't going to mount, and excuse my language, wasn't going to mount the shit. I was going to be the one that was actually going to be locked up for doing various things. And so when I think about it, and I think about how I was able to, I say, a success, and I put this same energy to my own children, because as y'all know, the world, they don't give you anything. Now they make it so you can have it, but they don't give it to you. You got to go out and work and get it. So I personally never felt that way. Don't feel that way today, even after retiring. Um, I had to prove a point, but I never let nobody I never held that against nobody. But I had to prove a point. I'm a college graduate. Okay. Um, I basically, with minimum help, had very little help from my parents. Like I said, I had my mother. She died. She was 45 years old. She died. I was a junior in college,
Mm.
and I had my grandparents. I had a father, but my father never did nothing for me. So I've always had to go out, and I've always had to prove folks that the things that you said to me when I was younger, my nickname was Tyke. Well, Tyke, you're gonna always be in trouble. You're gonna this, and I proved them all wrong. But I don't hold it against them, because the things that happened to me when I was young, it propelled me to be where I am today. So when I do go home, the few folks that are still living, oh, you retired? Yeah, I retired. I was 52 years old. I had full pension, 30 years. I left 15 months early with sick time. I had our own individual goal, and I never shared it with nobody. So when
So
I got
you never missed
involved,
a day then.
Say what now?
I said, you never missed a day on the job, then.
If I never had kids, I probably would have had more than that. But
That's real. He's
you
not
know,
exaggerating.
but I never shared those goals. I thought about my childhood up to my adulthood. You know, folks always look down. And so, as I said earlier, when I got into the prison system, when I got into the sheriff's office, I had individuals that helped me to grow and to learn how to be a law enforcement officer, how to do what's right. You know, today's society, these men and women, they don't care about you or what you do. All that they care about is themselves. And it's a different time. It's just a different time. So I had brothers and sisters that had my best interest at heart. You know, I'll say this and I'm going to let it move on. I had a particular job at the sheriff's office. And I did that job for 14 years. And it was then we call it evictions and foreclosures. So when you saw me, and I pulled up in your driveway, I was either putting you out or I was taking some property.
Yep.
Okay, I had to put a family out in the dead winter time, and it bothered me so bad that I wanted to go talk to the sheriff and move out of that particular job. And there's a brother named David Smith that was there. And I was a baby. I was only in maybe my second year at the sheriff's office. And he came to me and he said, Scarborough, don't go ask the sheriff to move you. Stay, learn this job, do this job. 14 years later, I did that job before I decided to do something else. But it goes back, I had good people. I had people to help me along the way. And that's how my life has been. And so what I've done, I've sold back into my community because I did football for the city of Raleigh for over 20 years. I did middle school football. Then I did high school football. So I've given back because folks have given to me. And so even dealing with the youth, you know, I'm still involved, talking to young juveniles. And I work with the disabled, able kids. So no, I've never felt that way. You know, really, truth be told, I probably spent more time out in the community than I have at home. Because somebody sold into me, so I feel like it's only right that I sold into them.
Okay.
So I hope I answered your question, Keith.
Oh, no, you did.
Yeah.
Derrick, you up next. Let me just say this. You know, you answered the questions for me, and that's real. And it was how you saw the world. This is what we do. Everybody on this episode, this panel, is giving us what they see from their view of the world. You know what I mean? Families and friends, I'm sorry if you don't feel as though we don't measure up to what you feel we need to answer. But the bottom line is, Derrick, I need you to talk to us about, have you ever felt like you was a sellout? Right?
Right.
And what are the misconceptions of what you did for a living?
Right.
And you personally have both perspectives of it, period.
Right. All is a we're retired and is a still in the game. Is a true blessing. But to ever think that profession that I was in I was ever sell out, nah. And I say no because from where I came from in South Philadelphia, in them housing projects, I was given an opportunity, and I took advantage of that opportunity. And don't get it twisted. I've come a long way, brother. Let me tell you that much. And I'm gonna be totally honest. Some of the things that we did in life, for me personally, I'm not proud of. But the honest answer is, I just never got caught. I just never got caught. So I was given an opportunity to experience life coming from where I came from. Like I said before, from where I came from, South Philadelphia housing project, nothing but crime, drugs, uh, single parent homes, welfare. You know, just a total mess. But I had two parents that stayed on us and told us that we don't have to be a product of our environment. Make it if you given the opportunity. I was given that opportunity, and I made the best of that opportunity. The misconception is all you police officers are the same. Y'all all whoop ass. If they see an incident on TV, oh, that's you. I know you whoop ass like that them dudes on TV whoop ass because all of y'all wear the same uniforms. But it's not like that. It was never like that. It's all about individuals and how you look at it. Me personally, how I looked at it, I was my own person. I never was a follower. I was a thinker more of a follower. Before I did something, I was thinking, okay, if I put my foot in this dude's behind, there's a possibility that I may lose my job, and there's a possibility that I may come up on charges. Let me go another approach. Let me take another approach to this thing. And that's the misconception. Is when they see that uniform, they think automatically that you are the bad guy. And it's and like I said, it's not like that. It's all about the individual that's wearing the uniform. Like I said, I wore the uniform, but I didn't let the uniform dictate who I was as a person. Because in order to, like I said, the culture today, as far as policing and detention, corrections, the culture is totally different now. Totally different. You have individuals that don't even think for themselves. They go on impulse. They don't think to say, okay, if I do this or if I do that, that this may happen. It's just totally different now. Totally different now. But when I wore the uniform, I wore it with pride and I wore it with respect. Not only respect for myself, but respect for others. I felt like I was there to serve them, not myself. My thing was I gave you the utmost respect, and I respected the same thing in return. I treated you like a human being. I expected the same thing in return. That was me when I wore the uniform.
Hey, Derrick, before you go, you see what Terry just put? I just put Terry on the screen. Can you address that real quick?
What am I addressing?
He did it. Well,
You see it on the screen?
But I can't see the chat.
It says, when you're on the job, are you black or blue?
When I'm on the job, and I'm just speaking for me, because let's be honest, we worked around.
It says
99.9% of the people we arrest or we was with working behind those doors look like me and you.
it's real.
They were black. They look like me and you. So the majority, even though you had a job to do, honestly, and this is just me, I felt like I was extending the hand because guess what? You look like me, I look like you, so I'm going to try and make your situation as comfortable as possible. Let's forget about the blue. Let's forget about the blue. You look like me, I look like you. I'm gonna try to make this transition as smooth as possible for me and for you. Now, if I thought about it in the blue, yo, put your goddamn hands up and turn around.
That's real.
You understand what I'm saying? That's if I was thinking in the blue. Shut up. Don't say nothing to me. But I'm thinking in the black. Hey, brother, guess what? You got your hand. Let me talk to you for a second. Go ahead and turn around. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just me. That's how I thought. And that pretty much sums it up for me, brother.
Okay. All right. Now, who don't have their earphones plugged in? Cause I hear
I
echo.
hear. Yeah. I think
Everybody got their earphones
it
in.
might be Jacor. Hey, while you checking for that, hey, listen, man. I think, man. I mean, the question came up as it
man.
did,
So
but I think you answered it when you started out. You know what I'm saying? How you was carrying yourself.
no doubt, no doubt.
You understand what I'm saying? You answered when you started when you answered the question. You answered that question. You know what I'm saying?
It's you being who you are. Period. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I mean, I appreciate you elaborating on it, but in your start, in the beginning, you answered the question. You know what I'm saying?
Jaquari and Dre, we coming to you. Keith,
And I appreciate that about you, bro. I mean, that was real.
what I need you to do,
You know, that was real, Derek.
the same question
Brother,
the same question that's up, Keith,
Yeah.
but also I want you to answer Terry's question as far as
Okay. I
when
mean, I
you're
can
on the
clear up.
job, are you black or white?
Okay. I can tie it all in together. Uh, to answer the sellout and I'm gonna answer the sellout and am I black or blue all together? Uh, no, I haven't been a sellout. I That was something I think about all the time because we get hit with it, and it was usually behind somebody because they were on the wrong end of a situation in their opinion. And the reason I'm saying that is, I would say to them, I said, look, okay, let's before we get into this, I'll introduce myself to them. I said, do we know each other? No, no, I never met you before. Okay, so you got me here. I didn't know you survived, were living. You got me here talking to you. You did something. Somebody called me and sent me here. So that I'm doing stuff to you because of whatever color you are, whatever. That's out. And then I'll go into it where I'm helping them. I'll say, well, that was on that was the black side of it. That part. The blue part is what I'm telling them. Okay, look, brother, I got a warrant here. Now this warrant is I have to arrest you. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna explain to you what you need to do. The bond for this is this amount. Have you got that amount of money? No, I don't. Okay, 10% of that is this. You can call your bail bondsman. Do you have that amount of money? Yeah. No, I don't, not right now. When will you have it? I can have it Thursday morning. You sure? Yeah. Thursday morning. Can you have that money and get a bondsman and meet me downtown? Yeah, I can do that. But if you do that, then you can go in. I can serve the warrant. You can see the magistrate, come right back out and go to work or wherever you need to go. You don't have to stay locked up. I've explained to him what he needed to do. He's feeling good because now he's not thinking that I'm just here to take his freedom away. So communication is huge. It's real huge. Instead of just walking in and just grabbing a man, Because like what we discussed yesterday, educating our people. A lot of our people don't know other than what they heard from people that's been locked up.
Yeah.
And even me growing up, the police was a get you. That was a get you crowd. Don't do this or the police gonna get you. They're gonna lock you up. So no, that's my part. No, I'm not a sellout. And everything I do, even if I don't want to do it, if I look at you and I think you really deserve to get it, get the whole 9 yards. I'll go in and give you the same treatment in a helpful type of way, and I'm gonna be respectful to you. So that's my part on the part of being a sellout. Uh, the misconceptions, I believe, is we get put into this category like we're robots. We set held to a standard, unrealistic standard. I'm a human being. I'm a man. You start talking disrespectful to me, I'm gonna have the same emotions and reactions, or want to react the same way the average person on the street will. I'm a person. I'm a human being, uh, and a lot of people use that to their advantage. They'll tell me that I'm stereotyping. You the police, and y'all stereotype. You are stereotyping me, and I'll tell them. I said, well, you wouldn't believe this, but to actually do my job effectively, I have to stereotype. And they'll ask me how. What do you mean? I said, because I have to go in this community, I have to look for what don't belong there. So if you walking around here with dressed a certain way and you look like you don't belong in this area, and I know who lives in this area, and I know eventually I'm gonna get the phone call anyway because you in this area, I'm gonna be proactive and stop and have a conversation with you. And I'm gonna explain that to you. I stopped you because you're in this neighborhood, and in this neighborhood you standing out. Somebody's gonna call me. So I'm having a conversation with you. You have a right to be here. There's no problem with you being here. But why are you here? Because that's a question I'm gonna be sent back to ask you. So before I come back, because the radio sent me here, and I ask you this question, and you buck on me, and I have to get rough with you, I'm stopping it. We, me and you now, just having a conversation, and I'm giving you some information. So back again, I guess that goes back to the communication, and the misconception. Yeah, they treat us like we're robots. Uh, Even on the flip side, in the department, they'll treat us like we're robots. Hey, well, you go over here in this community. You go over there and you deal with them, because you know them better than me. I said, man, I'm from Wilson County. I don't know these people. You grew up here. You know them better than I do. What you mean, my people? So I don't know. That's a big thing with me. The misconceptions and all of that to tell out this. I'm glad you tied the questions together, because me and you have talked about it, Keith, where we'll get the misconceptions just within the department.
Yeah.
You won't get your name put in for a promotion or something because somebody decided you don't look like you can do something. That's a misconception.
Yeah.
And the thing, I'm gonna close it up after this, but the thing I would say to you, I know you laughed at me. I said, why come when they take the pictures and have the photo ops and stuff, they get the little action figure guys with all the creases and they like little dolls, little action figures you get out of a box. But as soon as somebody gets slapped, a gunshot go off, all I see them calling people with big bellies and big bellies and
Somebody who gonna do something about that
bad
shit.
knees. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're
All
gonna
right.
go in there and handle it. We're gonna go to there, open the door, go in there and find out.
Now this is one of the
So
questions I'm
that's
gonna answer tonight. Go ahead, finish, Keith.
mhm. No. I
This
was
one
just
of
gonna say no. That's all I had for that. Though.
this is one of the questions I'm gonna answer tonight because see, here's the thing. I'm right along with Keith. That's been my partner for years. Scarborough's been my partner. Derrick, we've been good the whole time, and everybody else, y'all my people. Period. So y'all know what kind of person I am, right? When it came to the job, people might think that I might be oversimplifying this shit, but for real, what I deal with, what I dealt with as a deputy and law enforcement officer was criminals. Criminals come in black and white. You understand? Once I understand the criminal behavior and what I have to deal with, now I deal with the human part of it because my brother Damon always talk about the humanity. That's real. That's the realness of it. Because what humanity, when you understand humanity, it helps you to keep your sanity while you do the job. When you understand that you are human and you make mistakes and your life needs to go on, it's the job. The answer to the question is no. Never felt like I was a sellout. You want to know why? Because if I ran into a brother or sister that victimizing the neighborhood and I have to arrest them, I will arrest them. And you know what's so funny about it is? They understood why I arrested them. Yeah, they would try to get away. Yeah, they would try to resist me. Whatever. But the bottom line was that was the relationship I had with them. I wasn't telling you black N words is this and that. No. You know why? Because I looked in the mirror every day and I saw myself as a dark brown skinned black man. So when I approached the job, it was about how I would feel. You know why? Because I was on the other side, being treated like shit, especially when they didn't know me. And to make it so bad, when I was living in Pittsburgh, I was semi-famous. So 7 out of 10 times, the arresting officer or the officer who pulled us over and had me on my knees on the ground, face down, they knew who the fuck I was. And I'm talking real shit now. I'm talking realness. This is the realness. This is nothing made up. This is the realness. They knew who I was. And it didn't make a difference. You know why? Because it's a fear. It's the fear of a community. I told everybody last night, I'm not holding back. I don't look, to be colorful, I don't give a shit whether or not you agree with me or don't agree with me. Because first and foremost, when all this stuff was going on and I was still working, people would come to me and confront me like, yo, what do you think about this, blah, blah, blah. And what I would say to them is, yo, if I was there, I would see it differently. What do you mean you don't see it differently? If I was there with my life feeling like it's in danger, which was rare because I understood and I had checks and balances as I went on, but you never can really cover for that. But I understood what I was doing, how I was doing, where I was going with it. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because that's kept me sane. That kept my head in the game where I didn't go fucking crazy. Now, these brothers heard me say, I'm not going to make excuses for stupidity. I'm not going to do that. I refuse to do that. You know? So if a friend or family or some acquaintances come to me and like, yo, talk to me about what happened. If I don't say to you what you want to hear, don't you dare be disappointed in me. You want to know why? Because you never lived this shit. My brother, Jaquari, and Andre have to go through this every day that they go to work. Never knowing, but they have power. They have power and they have the attention of these young men and these young women, young women. That is a blessing, right? But I'm not gonna I'm stepping off this soapbox, but I just wanted to let y'all know I just wanted to contribute to you guys. Now, we'll start with you, Andre. Same question. How do you feel about that?
Well, detention's a unique situation. So to me, I never felt like no sellout in detention because it's our young brothers and sisters, so it was opportunity. So sellout was like that's the furthest thing I ever thought because I didn't bring them there, none of that type of stuff. Sometimes you even got to tell them, I ain't bring you here, right? We didn't come with no applications in your communities. They ain't come through. We're gonna treat you a certain way, right? But I never felt sellout. That was the last thing with detention. Detention, I felt was like opportunity because this one of them type of places, especially later on in detention, you have advocates and advocacy for youth and different type of things. So, like, it's unlimited budgets to almost keep kids in detention, right? If you want to get into the other part of it, like detention has the budget that the school, right? So that's a whole nother story. So that's why I try to school the youth to, like, you know, there's a whole economy on us going to jail. You understand what I'm saying? There's a whole economy because most of us are getting locked up in the cities. But when you look at the penitentiaries, they're more in the rural areas that don't have the people. Detention is kind of the last place you're going to see people that look like you detaining you. We used to, or city jails, county jails, depending on what city you're in. Once you go to the penitentiaries, that's outside in the outskirts, the suburbs, and the people that's detaining you there are not usually people from the community. So this whole economy is being made off of people being locked up. So detention to me is opportunity. So I feel like most detention staff, I think we have a great opportunity in that type of place to really capture youth, impressionable young people who still got an opportunity that 9 times out of 10 will get back in the community. So it's a little different, right? So that's why I went to penitentiary or things of that nature, or jail. I mean, being a police officer and such, because I felt I had an opportunity. And I loved it. Like, I never felt like I worked for like 18, 19 years. Like, I didn't feel like I had a job because I did it in my hood. I sit in my bench, in my neighborhood. I sat on the benches and did what we had to do as men of the community, just like I would do in detention. You being disrespectful to the women. Y'all need to clean up. Can't be doing that violence when kids is in the park. All these different type of things. So detention in that regard fell out. That's the last thing I ever thought about for any type of detention type facility. You talk about misconceptions. Yeah, there's a misconception by the parents. Most people don't even think about juveniles in detention. So most people in the world, and that's why I think it's underpaid and things of that nature, because most people in the world don't even think that America locks up kids. And America want to hide that they lock up kids. Now, when the pendulum swings where you have juvenile crime, they say we're going to get tougher on crime, but they still want to hide that kids are locked up. So that being the case, you don't hear a lot of conversation about it. Hence the reason why it's kind of hard to even recruit for it, because people don't even know it exists. But on another level, the people that have come in contact with us because their children, loved ones are in there with us, they have a misconception that we're treating their children foul.
Gotcha.
You understand what I'm saying? So they're going to come there. Until they come and realize it's totally different, that's when they change. But when they come, they thinking that we already judged their child, we're in there trying to beat up their children and abuse their children and things of that nature. But once they come and see the facilities 9 times out of 10, come in contact with the staff 9 times out of 10, they leave saying, "Oh, he's probably safer than here than he was in the community how he was running." You know what I'm saying? So those are that's the only kind of misconceptions. But the bad part about detention versus corrections to me is that since nobody really knows about it, and the pay is not
Gotcha.
the same, right? So the parity in pay is not there based on no one wants to admit that we detaining youth, and it's you could die up in a juvenile detention facility, maybe not as quick as a correctional officer up in a jail, but at the end of the day, it's a dangerous situation.
It still hazard pay, right?
It's hazard pay, but one thing like they said last night, they giving 20-year pensions to a lot of places now because you working it with overtime, mandatory overtime, and all the things you got to encounter during these jobs. Not to mention the hazard pay of it.
That's
In
real.
20 years, you worked 40 years.
Yep.
Because time wise, and then you add the residuals with the how traumatizing it could be, or depressing, and or the vicarious trauma you get from dealing in these type of environments, right? So our close was saying that detention is rewarding to me more so than not, because it's an opportunity to have that captive audience to kind of shed some light on some different type of things. Like now, there's a big carjacking thing going on in D.C. now, in the DMV area. Like D.C. had like 500 carjackers. D.C. ain't but a small city. 500 carjackers?
That's crazy.
Maryland, Maryland PG County had like 499, 500 again. And they're not just stealing luxury cars, it's any type of car. So now I have the opportunity to go into the facility and now ask the youth, what's this thought process like? What's all this carjacking about? Is it about money? What is it about?
No.
So we have an opportunity to put our finger on the pulse, talk directly to the population, and kind of hopefully give them opportunity to do better, because we giving kids GEDs up in there. Kids are getting schooling up in there. So there's opportunity that's there, right? So I look at that opportunity, and there's opportunity to kind of find out what the youth, what their mindset is, for me selfishly. But me finding out helps me help them. Maybe they have an alternative. So sell out never.
Hey, Key, can I say something? You know what's crazy to me, man? When I was in the industry, man, I worked with sex offenders for 3 years, dog. You know what I'm saying? That was a year more than I should have. You know what I'm saying? Because I was walking through society and I was seeing sex offenders all over the goddamn place.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? All over the place. And I just had a new baby and my wife and this and that. And I'm thinking with the mindset of defense, because I'm working with these cats and they grooming and they doing all kind of shit, you know what I'm saying? Because they had time to think about that because they're locked up. You know what I'm saying? So when you associate that with your life working with them, it's like, damn, man, you know, the world crazy. You know what I'm saying? The world crazy because you on the forefront. Y'all first responders, y'all first on the forefront of that shit. And y'all seeing these things happening and you like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? I have to double down even more now because I know what's out there. See, the public don't understand that shit.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. They don't understand that these people are walking amongst y'all. You know what I'm saying? They don't get that. Now, you get off into how, you know, the percentages of those cats that can be saved and the ones that can't. There are people that can't be saved, dog.
Don't want to be.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's why I know. That's why I got out of it when I did, because I know that with my mindset, and I'm seeing this, and I'm working with them. I'm like, damn, dog, is this what life really about? You know what I'm saying?
Damon, we coming back to you, but I want to get your quarry in.
All right, go ahead, my bad.
And talk about.
I just wrote down so many notes, man. I got a lot of shit to say.
No doubt, no doubt. We coming back to you, dog. Go ahead, Jaquar.
Well, no, I never felt like a sellout, man. I never felt like I was doing it, any kind of injustice to the people that I was working with, because I felt like I had a need to be there. I mean, like I said in my segment earlier, I mean, the things that I went through, the things that my coworkers went through, we're in a position to impart some good advice. I mean, just because you say it and it might be the stone cold truth doesn't mean that they're always going to pick it up. So that was an expectation I had to lose in the very beginning. Because I mean, when I first started the job or whatever, everybody told me about all the bad shit, all the negative, and everything that could happen. And up to that point, shit, I moved around places or whatever, so I knew the ills of the world. I knew the ills of the world. So I got into the practice of asking, those same people who was being naysayers, what do you find good about the job? And a lot of times, I got very, very sparse information, but the information that I did get, I made it a point to if emphasize that was going to be a part of my style. But they expect you to be involved in all this and all. Okay, yeah, well, that's what I'm going to do then. Because that's young folks need constant reminders. This is a lesson time. They in school, so they still responsible for learning. They're responsible for learning everything. And if I call myself even a man, and I'm around, what kind of man would I be if I didn't try to feed them? The biggest misconception that I could think of, man, is the fact that nobody thinks that we attempt to rehabilitate in juvenile corrections. I mean, they think that we're just going to hold them to their next court dates, and that's not necessarily the case. Always doing circle ups, always doing groups, always questioning, criminal, always. It's a constant thing. It's a constant thing. I mean, if you don't know how to do it through the program, you got to figure out how to work it in through your personal interactions. We sitting on the pod watching a football game or whatever. So it's no better opportunity to start talking about character, because character is meant to because football is meant to develop character. That's what I was always told. Some of the things that I heard when I was young, when I was their age, like I said, I didn't really pick it up in the beginning, but I remembered it. Some of the things I remember to this day, and I use it. And I'm hoping that my personal impact is as such as that some of the same things happen. You deal with young people, man, who have both parents in the home. A lot of my kids come from 2-parent homes or whatever, but their parents don't know who they are. They have no idea who they are. I mean, how could you really fault a mother for wanting to support her son in some way? Parents know what their failures are. They know exactly what they are, because in a lot of cases, they parents are standing right next to them while they fucking up. That's a real thing. A lot of cases, their parents are the source of the resources that enable them to fuck up. So you not only have to teach and be a good example to the young folks. Sometimes you got to do that for the parents. And that's why I emphasize approach. Nobody wants to be preached to. I understand that. I'm not going to ever tell you what to do, but I'll tell you what made me successful.
What got me through.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's it.
All right. Well, look. This is what we're going to do. Inquiry, we stand with you. I'm combining 2 questions, and then we're going to bring it on home. Now I'm asking you to give us a strong 2 minutes, guys. Pay attention to the clock. Strong 2 minutes. We've been doing this for a while, so I know y'all can do it. All right. We're gonna start with the detention side, okay? Because it's more relevant than anything. And the question is, I'm combining the two questions. First of all, have you ever tried to teach the youth that you dealt with how to navigate through this crazy nonsense, right? And attached to that is, how do you feel about Memphis? And we'll start with you, Jaquan.
I mean, I'm gonna answer it out of order, man. I mean, as Memphis goes, man. Admittedly, I haven't watched the video, man. I stopped watching. I stopped watching us get slaughtered on the news years ago. I can't take it. I really can't take it. Not maintain my mindset, man, because I deal with the police every day.
Respect.
Deal with the police every day. So I gotta compartmentalize that in a certain way, man. I mean, but it was. I don't have words to express the feelings that just hearing about that situation. All the fuckery involved, man. It's I don't know. It's just hard for me to put it into words. It really is. I don't watch the news anymore, man. I don't watch the news anymore. That's why when we first started this whole podcast thing, man, I was nervous because as far as current events go, sports and what's going on today, this minute, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I've been told, on several occasions that being uninformed is not a good. It's not a good thing. And I understand that it's not a good thing. And to a certain extent, I am informed, man. I'm informed on different things, though. I'm trying to figure out, how to survive my state, man. I'm trying to figure out what the hell, what they call it, personal care, or what they call it, self-love. What the hell is that? What the hell is self-love? I have no idea what that is, bro.
You got to learn how to do it in order to do it.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. Good. As far as the first part of the question, man, ask me that question one more time, the first part.
Have you ever tried to teach the youth? You and Andre already answered this question, but I want you to reinforce it. Have you ever tried to teach the youth how to navigate these laws?
The laws? I mean, I don't know enough about the law to try to, guide anybody through it, man.
Let's alter it a little bit. What are you trying, you and Dre? What are you trying to teach your youth when you have their ear?
I'm trying to teach you how to navigate the situation that's right in front of you. That's what I'm trying to deal with. I'm trying to teach people how to nurture relationships. How to build relationships. Everybody wants something. So it's got nothing to do with manipulation. This is me. This is my presentation. And this is what I need. If you can't help me with that, then you have a good day. Doesn't have to be any heat or any back and forth. If I'm out of line and you come to me with some correction, I, knowing me and who I am and my role in this situation, I'm going to take a step. I'm going to teach them. I try to teach them to take a step back and look at the criticism for what it is. It's beats, but I was a theater major, man, and everything goes in beats. Every moment goes and transfers through beats. You can tell because every human heart has a certain pattern to it, and if it skips a beat, then the whole thing is thrown off track. Okay. If your heart skips a beat, you'll fucking more than likely die. You got to treat your relationships and your moments just like that. You got to live in. You got to live in your moments and be present at all times. That's what I try to teach.
No doubt. No doubt. Damon, I know you wanted to sit back and listen to everybody, but I want to hear your input on these particular questions.
As far as Memphis is concerned, man, that has absolutely nothing to do with the jobs that y'all did all the years y'all did. There was some cats, man, that was on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate, man, that politics would try to make that about your profession and your experience. Had absolutely nothing to do with that shit. There was just 4 brothers, how many it was, man, on some bullshit. And it was embarrassing, and it was the worst video I ever seen in my life, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. And it's a shame. Here's the shame. Watch how these talking heads and these political cats try to associate that shit in y'all life. And it ain't got nothing to do with y'all. And the sad thing about it is the people at large won't even understand that shit. Because they're trying to pick a side. Because they think if they can prove you're wrong, that's the winning side. Without factoring in that your experience on the job was something that was important in terms of your life. And y'all had to work through that shit. And then, at the same token, you got to listen to this bullshit for 4 other clown-ass dudes? You know what I'm saying? How do y'all get lumped into that bullshit? That's people not paying attention to the reality of the situation. People are jacked up, man, and they do jacked up shit. And it has absolutely nothing to do with y'all cats who are working in the system right now. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, if the world was to ask all y'all cats on here right now, well, why do y'all get into profession? What do y'all do it? It had nothing to do with some clown ass dude who was on the power struggle. It had nothing to do with it. Y'all shit was personal. Why y'all did the job and why y'all stayed in it as long as you have. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's unfortunate that people don't recognize or give you that solace, man. Give you that give you that break. And that's totally dismissing your experience in your life, man. That's what it's doing. Okay. Because people are so subjective, man. That they're not able to look at things objectively. Okay, you know what? I see what's going on, but my experience says this, so I see shit different. My experience is different, but you still lumped into the same shit. And unfortunately now, because these 4 idiots, these talking heads is gonna lump all the black officers into that shit.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unfairly, and that's, you know what I'm saying. We should be able to differentiate between real cats who made a living doing the job and did it the right way.
No doubt.
As opposed
Andre,
to.
Go ahead and finish real quick, and then Andre, you after him. You good, Fluke?
No, go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, so I talk about the Memphis thing. I'm kind of like Jabari, though. Like, I didn't watch it in its entirety. I've been there, seen that. I don't like just seeing violence on TV in certain ways anyway. I'm not, I don't like seeing violence. But what I do recognize is that when you got people of power, that people are given power, but are weak, they might be abuse that power, right? The only problem I have is no matter who it is, they're only abusing their power on one community for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So it's that no matter who it is, they think they can do it to us.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not surprised. I wasn't like it was black, white. I'm not surprised anybody do it to us. Because the system has shown that it should be done to us. That there's a lot of money that been invested, a lot of things. All we could talk for days. That's a whole nother show. That makes us look like we should be treated in a certain way, and no one have no type of empathy or sympathy for what we're going through. So it don't matter. So because I think if it was a white guy, I don't think nobody's beating his ass like that on a regular basis.
No
That's
doubt.
just my take on it. So I don't care, but I'm not surprised that black guys did it, white guys did it, Asian guys do it, Hispanic people do it. I ain't surprised by none of that because if you're weak and you abuse your power, you're gonna abuse it. But it's that who you think you abuse, who you could use it on, is where the problem lies for me.
That's
Because one of your misconceptions is it. Either you think you can get away with it, or you think we're an animal that we don't feel pain.
No doubt. No doubt.
Right. So that's my take on that. Was part of it because it's like it just goes on. My pops got shot by police. I don't know if he deserved it or not. But violence, that's part of my cousin got killed by the police. But it's not that I have a problem with police at all. Because I just know it's different individuals. Like we all are individuals in careers.
Yeah.
So I recognize like I said, I've seen people in detention like you're a piece of shit that I work with. Like you're a piece of crap. You're abusing your power. And you're deciding who you can use it on or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the big dude talk crap, now you got counseling skills. Little man talks crap, now you physical.
Gotcha.
So suckers is everywhere. I'm sorry I didn't bring it to that level, but when they doing shit like that, they a sucker.
Good damn point though.
They suckers is everywhere, but the problem I have, what I'm seeing is that some people, you think you can get away with it from, or whatever bias you bring to it, thinks that they should be treated differently, and it's always the same people for the most part, at least from what they're showing us.
Yeah.
And that's my take on it.
Okay. Derrick, it's on you, brother.
Yes, sir. Like I said, detention has always been good to me. And detention has showed me a lot. There's a difference between, and I had the privilege to work in both, there's a difference between adult detention and juvenile detention. Most of your adult detention guys, they just want advice. You know what I mean? Hey, man, my girlfriend that, or my wife this and that, or my children this and that, or yo, what about this game last night? That's what most of your adult detention guys, that's what they pretty much ask you. They just want advice. Your juvenile detention, they hunger for knowledge. They hunger for it. They watch you. Juvenile, they watch you. And if you preach it, you better walk it. Because if you don't walk it, they will put you on the carpet. Them juvenile, they will put you on the carpet. They'll put you on blast and say, okay, well, you said this, but you did this last week when you came into the dorm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they'll put you on blast. They'll let you know what it is and what it isn't. And more your juvenile, they just hunger for what they didn't have at home. So when you come in, they may look at you as somewhat of an uncle, somewhat of a father. They look at you as that figure to somewhat guide them while they're incarcerated. Now, that Memphis thing, I watched it one time. And the only reason why I watched it one time is because I didn't want to get desensitized to it like this shit is normal. I never want to feel like that. Them doing what they do to us is normal. Them guys was a bunch of cowards. And what they were doing that night at that time, they thought it was okay. And the reason why I said they thought it was okay, because they've been doing it and they just got caught. They have been doing this for a minute. but they just got caught. Like I said yesterday, they didn't know that that camera was up there on that wall. Because trust me, if they knew that that camera was up on that wall, they would have took a different approach to that situation. Trust me. But they have been doing this for a while. It was normal to them to put hands on and brutalize individuals. They have been doing that for a minute. They just happened so to get caught this time. And that's pretty much what I have to say about it. That situation is not normal. It was disgusting. And whatever come to those guys, and that's and we put emphasis on the police officers, but what about them EMT?
Yeah.
Them EMT officers, they didn't do nothing. That man on the ground dying. They stood and looked over. Didn't administer no type of aid, no type of nothing for minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that whole situation, everybody that's involved, they need to be accountable, and whatever's coming to them as far as criminally, they deserve that. And that's my take on the whole situation.
Okay. Bill, it's on you, brother. Scarborough, you on mute, man. Look at you. All right, we hear you now. We got you now.
All right. We all are some sort of first responders, and none of us, whatever side of the criminal world that we're involved with, none of us took the job, worked the job for one thing, for what it gives us as far as salaries and what we could do for ourselves and our family. I think we all can say that we all got involved to help this world that we live in on all levels, whether it's juvenile, adults, in the prison system or the LEO. But so we can't feel like a few bad apples can and should make our profession a bad place to work or bad place to go to. That's how I look at it as far as that relates. As far as the Memphis situation, I did look at it, and I'm in agreement that whatever consequences that those individuals that participated in the beatdown of that young man, they get what they get. There was no reason for it. My view, from what I saw, you had 4 or 5 healthy. I mean, it seemed to be they were all big guys that simply should have just restrained him, cuffed him, and got him in back of a police car and went from there. But that's just how it is. I mean, I could personally, if it was white guys or folks of different colors that did it, I would feel the same way. And so the thing that I look at is that you do what you can while you're on the job, and you be professional while you're doing it. And we just have some folks that they don't look at it like that. They want to flex the muscles. They've gotten some power, so now they want to basically be dominion over people. So I just look at it as that, within yourself, you were taught right or wrong, and you just have to kind of follow those rules.
Okay. Keith, it's on you, brother.
Okay. Yeah. As far as teaching the juveniles laws, yes, I tried to do it through this opportunity through school system, like going into classes, like I mentioned last night, that got shot down. So what I had to do was on an individual basis as I walk through hallways or ran into them. I would talk to them, and if they were on the borderline or doing some things, I pulled them to the side and I literally opened the book up and let them read it, let them see what they were doing, because I just feel personally, I've seen it where they'll do things and they have no clue what they're doing. They have no clue that it's even wrong. And you and I both have dealt with it. We've seen it firsthand, sitting in the office and your favorite word, the snitch thing. I don't want to be a snitch. That and all that kind of stuff. So on that, yeah, I have done that, and that's something I still advocate for when I get an opportunity to keep talking to these kids and keep giving them not only just don't just go up there and just, hey, you did this wrong, I'm gonna do a petition or whatever. Explain it to them, open the book, show it to them what they're doing, and then show them the website. Go here, every law in this state is on this website. Go look on it and read it. Was my dad used to say, learn the rules so you can break them appropriately.
No doubt. No doubt. That's real. You spoke real words, man. That's real.
So on the Memphis thing, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the only word I can come up with. And even the most embarrassing thing for me watching it with them was afterwards them explaining why they did what they did. Right, I mean, right there on the street.
Right there.
Yeah, but why'd you do this? How this happened? He was running, and I'm waiting for the rest of it. And we ain't seen it running. I ain't seen, at least I haven't. I ain't seen no footage of this brother running. And so he was running, and then y'all did all of this. And this one dude, he ran what, a damn quarter of a mile to kick him in the head. And when he pulled it, he was out of breath.
Yeah.
They were in shifts.
Yep.
This one dude, he pepper sprayed, and two of them had to go over there and recover, get themselves together, while the other 2 or 3 over there working on this. I never imagined somebody doing that would even happen. And with especially from somebody in uniform, and then somebody that looked like you. Yeah. Somebody that looked like me. Because that's the thing that I said, well, let me just look at this. Because I didn't know who did it. And when I saw who was doing it, I was like, what did this dude do?
Yeah. For
y'all to do all of this? What was he shooting? Who did he shoot? What's going on? And so they wasting money probably. I know it sounds ugly, but from what I just saw on TV that night, it's a waste of money even holding the trial. Because based off what they were saying, their reason for doing it, their probable cause, and this man in the ground now.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And then to close it out for me was these brothers, these people that still own the job. They gotta live. They gotta endure this, man. And then somebody's gonna say, "Okay, it won't us this time. It won't us this time. Where the damn marchers at? Where the marchers at? Get it together. Let's get up down the street. Let's go throwing rocks. It won't us this time. Where the group at? Y'all know what the 3 letters? Where y'all at?
Yes, sir.
Do it matter now? That don't look like it matters. That don't look like it matters right there. They don't like an incident where it matters. Y'all matter. Which is another whole issue. I'll say it, yeah. Black Lives Matter.
There you go. Yeah.
Where you at?
I mean, you know, to
I
be
got
honest,
I got 3 pair of boots. Where we marching? Where we at?
listen, to be honest with you, they put too much responsibility and too much emphasis on Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it a buck, right? Because they didn't really have what ended up happening was they Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, became a catchphrase. Is what happened.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And this is not criticizing them, but people gravitated towards that because it sounded so good.
Yeah.
Now, to answer the question that I gave to the panel, to be perfectly honest, my whole life, no matter what level I was on, I always took time to talk to whoever I was dealing with, adults and juveniles, period. You know why? Not the fact that I knew more than them, but I asked them questions. Oh, why you find yourself here? What are you going to do from here? Do you know you're not good at this shit? Because I wasn't looking for you. And here we are. You understand? Because that's what they needed to hear. Period. I want people, before I answer the second part of that question, I want people to understand the dynamic. Because, Luke, when I'm done, we're going to you. So get your head together and bring us on home. Understand the dynamic of this panel. We got 4 retired law enforcement officers and detention officers, right? We got 2 current detention officers. We are encompassing everything. And what we're doing is giving you what we feel in our hearts. You understand? Of course, if the guys come on another time, they're going to get even better at it. But my point is, I asked these men to come on and to talk to us because I respect their opinion. I respect who they are as people. And I wanted to hear their view of what was going on in their life and what's going on in their life now. Period. Right? Now, to answer the second part of it, this is my personal opinion. First and foremost, you cannot tell me that during that whole assault and murder of that young man, that there was one sane human being there. And the reason why I can say that is because 30 years of law enforcement, I'm going to say it again, this is my view, this is my life. 30 years of law enforcement. Whenever I arrest somebody and he's under control, I'm not doing anything extra because it's done.
It's done. Yeah.
Now, if he's on his feet and he's fighting me, there's no holds barred. We got to go.
Yeah.
This is coming from me. We got to go. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Because you're telling me I'm in my uniform and you fight me and you know I got a gun, you want to kill me. That's my mentality. Whether you agree with it or not, it is what it is. But that's my mentality. That's my mentality. Right?
Yeah,
but what my goal is to stop you, not to hurt you, not to misuse you, to stop you. So because I'm placing you under arrest, I'm trying to get you under control. Right? The guys in Memphis, I don't give a fuck. You're cowards. You want to know why? Because for years, with these smartphones, I've seen white men misuse brothers. Right? Even though I'm not naive enough to say, oh, well, black dudes don't do that to each other. No, I'm not naive enough to say that shit. That's dumb. That's dumb as hell. But the simple fact that I'm watching you punch this man bolo punches while his hands behind his back and complain because your fucking wrist hurt. And to kick him while he's on the ground, while they got his arms behind his back, to kick him in his head twice. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Come on, man. My brother Damon always talking about, where the fuck is your humanity? The last thing I'm gonna say is, I've been in law enforcement for 30 fucking years. I did not allow that shit. Once that man is under control, you are not going. I don't care if he embarrassed you. I don't care anything. If his hands are behind his back, that's it. You feel what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
All right, bring us on home, Damon. You're on mute, I think, bro.
The first thing I want to address is the word sellout, man. You can categorize it as subjective or whatever. You can do that shit, man. But here's the thing, man. Fuck that word. Because cowards hide behind that shit. Cowards hide behind that shit because it's a political statement is what it is. Sellout. You know what I'm saying? Half the people that utter that fucking word, excuse my language, most people that utter that word think that Uncle Tom was the sellout when Sambo was.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? They don't even know what the hell they talking about, man. Mm-hmm. But they throw it out because it's a political fight. And what they don't do is they don't get into the nuances of what somebody that's working the job is going through. And what they go through is this, man. Y'all, all four of y'all, man, law enforcement and Dre and Jacory, y'all talked about the responses to the action. You know what I'm saying? What dictates the action? Political statements, which brings in the word sellout. You don't even know the true definition of that because you throwing up the wrong motherfucking person. Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was that dude who was outthinking everybody. Sambo was that motherfucker who was selling everybody out. Mm-hmm. That's just fact. You understand what I'm saying? I cannot speak to y'all situation because y'all lived it and y'all got through it. You know what I'm saying? When my brother first got into the profession, my biggest fear was I hope a guy don't run up on my brother because he on some crazy shit and take my brother's life. I had, not living in his situation, I can't even speak to that. But in my situation, I had to live with that. So when I listen to these talking heads and these political people talk about defund the police and all this bullshit, how the hell you come up with that term, man? Defund the police. Really? That's the craziest shit I ever heard in my life. That tells me that you're not thinking. You're just being tribal. That's what you're doing. You're just being tribal. You don't even care about the term that you're throwing out. Because the term you're throwing out don't even make sense. Defund the police. If you want to allocate funds in different areas, then that's what you say. That's the statement that you make. That lets me know that you thought through the process. You're not just throwing out terms. You're just not being tribal. We as black people, man, we 40% of this country. There's nowhere in the hell we can win a civil war in that joint. So we have to think. We have to wear two hats. That's what I teach my kids. Whatever you feeling in your heart, you know what I'm saying, you do an analysis on yourself. And then when you speak the words that come out your mouth is going to benefit you. Not make you go against somebody that looks like you, because it's a political term. You know what I'm saying? And that's where cats, that's where this country got us all mixed up. And you got guys arguing and speaking up on the wrong side of shit. You want to know what's going on in the police officer's life? Do you sit down and you ask them? You don't throw terms at them. You ask them. They're going to tell you the truth. Because, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all want to speak the truth. You want to talk about your experience. Because like I said earlier, y'all between a rock and a hard place. Administration and the people on the streets. And you got people picketing and saying, hey man, you know, we need to do sensitive training. How the hell you gonna tell a black man to be sensitive on the job, man? You understand what I'm saying? That's what a black man on the job. Now y'all correct me if I'm wrong. A black man on the job leave with sensitivity. And that sensitivity that they leave with is that I got to get back home to my family. I got to get back home to my family. And if you can understand that, then that's your problem, not mine. Because you don't know my life and you don't know my experience. Ask me if you want to know. And then it's up to me whether or not I want to tell your ass, depending on how disrespectful you are. So it's about attitudes. It's about what you dealing with on a daily basis, and then somebody come with you with some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, if you leaving home with something that you have to deal with in your home, which everybody has to do, and then somebody come with you with some clown shit, the first is it your first response to say, okay, I'm finna do the job now. And I ain't finna deal with your bullshit. Because like y'all said, I was called here for you and your actions. I was called here for you and your actions. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all, you know what I'm saying? I have to think about how to deal with you and keep my shit, my own personal stuff, right? But when you sit up in your home and you want to be judgmental, you worry about whether or not your mortgage is getting paid or you made a bad investment and shit. And that's the thing that you dealing with. But I got to deal with your bullshit, keep my family safe, you understand what I'm saying? And make sure my kids are educated. But you pissed off and you want to jump out a window and I got to talk you off the ledge, motherfucker, because you made a bad investment and shit? Really? But I'm supposed to understand you. I'm supposed to understand you. And then, when you get through the process, you want to sue me now. And make me lose my job. When the prior week before, you was ready to jump out the fucking window because you fucked up and made a bad mistake. But I'm supposed to understand you and what you're going through and be superhuman in my thinking and make my life secondary. That said, I don't think people take that into account. They don't, because everybody wants to win somehow. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to win, even when they do dumb shit and make mistakes. Hey, dog. Hey, man. Yeah, I robbed that motherfucker, but why you treat me so bad? Because you was shooting at us, motherfucker. That's why. Now you want to question me because I'm doing my job? Come on, dog. And then you got a nerve to go get an attorney. How the hell you go get an attorney when you robbing somebody because you broke? How does society work, man?
It's a crazy society.
Backwards.
How do it work? It don't make sense, man. And the sad thing about it, this is my last point. The sad thing about it is that I listened to y'all, man, and I wrote 2 pages of shit, man. Just listen to what y'all saying. And I don't have the time to even respond to it. But it's like, wow. You talk about sellout? You talking about resilience? You talking about purpose? That's personal shit. That affects your life. That's what people expect y'all to defend yourselves against. You see what I'm saying? That's personal because that's the life that y'all live. But you don't have the time to sit back and do what I did tonight and listen and be able to write down what I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? So I see it different. The first thing I did, man, because I was in my feelings about all this police and shit, all this shit, right? The country was going through. I started watching the body cam shit. See, that's what most motherfuckers don't do. They don't watch the body cam shit. And I saw officers talking about, hey man, put the gun down, please. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got to be like this. And then when that person get his life took, you see what I'm saying? People don't talk about that justification of taking a motherfucker's life because he don't want to fucking listen. Or he in despair or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They just say, hey, that's your job. That's what y'all supposed to do. But when that cat is in despair and don't put the gun down, then your life in jeopardy. Your life in jeopardy. Nobody wants to talk about that. They only want to talk about, you know what I'm saying, the end results. And these cats down in Memphis, man, I don't give a damn what happened to them cats, man. I don't. Because based on what I'm trying to understand about the job y'all did for so long, you got to try to find some. You got to try to find some balance there, and fuck the cat. Excuse my language. The hell with the catchphrase is sell out. You see what I'm saying? The sellouts is the cats that's on social media and on cable news, talking shit and getting paid. The responders and the cats that's working the job, man, is the ones who got to live between the society and the administration and get through it. And that's my whether I'm right or wrong, that's how I feel.
And it's all due respect. Good job, man. Great job.
Mm-hmm.
Hell of a job.
Yeah.
So just
Spot on.
I'm going to close this off because this is my point. Me as an individual, I always see, and it is very hard to do this, but I see every angle for what's going on. Me, I worked 30 years in law enforcement. What I did was I conducted my duty towards lawbreakers, right? First and foremost. See, most people don't do that because you get caught up in the community and what's the perception of that community. You understand what I'm saying? And that's not the truth. It's not the truth. Is you take it one case at a time because it helps you to keep your sanity so you don't get burned out, so you don't make a mistake. Everybody on here has been blessed and will be blessed in getting through this shit. I asked about the Memphis guys because not to pile on to them, but to be honest with you, guys that's retired and also the guys that's still working, that was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was.
That's my personal opinion. Everybody else, if you agree with me, that's cool, but that's my personal opinion. And then for you to talk about how your wrist is hurting because you punched this man freely in his jaw twice. And then let me keep it a buck. Many years since the smartphone injection into social media, I've seen white policemen, whether it's justified or not, I've seen them do something to what they say unarmed black men, right? Right or wrong, I seen this shit, and I jumped on the side of my community until I seen something different, right? But when I saw these men who had the same complexion as me, do this wolf pack shit to this young man, oh, that changed my fucking life, man. And understand, and Dre, and Jaquari, and Damon know what my life was like before I came here. And I was appalled, man. I was appalled because I saw people that look like me go after this man and talk like it was okay. That bothers the shit out of me. So I'm good. I'm off this soapbox. So Dre, we're gonna start with you. Last words, man, real quick. And we're gonna let you go because you guys gave us 2.5 hours, and it was a glorious 2.5 hours. Dre, we on you, baby.
First of all, excuse me. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity once again to be on here with the brothers, strong perspectives. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate meeting the brothers that's on here tonight. I learned a lot from y'all brothers through the course of these last 2 days, man. Like really. And, I was grateful. I'm in there every day. I'm grateful, but you know, I'm on a mission. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on a mission to do what I can do. So I say we got a captive audience where I'm at. I try to instill that in my staff. Like, yo, we got a captive audience. You can't complain about some of the things you've seen in the community, and then you right here before these young men that we see portrayed in the news a certain way, these young ladies, and we're not doing something about it. They right here. So I try to encourage that type of motivation towards the process. Because I ain't jailing kids. Never have, never will, never cared about detention, never will care about detention, but I care and love the population. You know what I'm saying? Because I know the mentality, I know how easy it is to get caught up. You know what I'm saying? So, that being said, I appreciate anyone that's watching. It's all about our energy, y'all. We got to put a collective energy out. We don't be just, I'm going to have a defeatist energy. Collectively, we got to have a positive energy, like we could persevere, that we gonna win. We supposed to win. We gonna win, and that's how we'll start changing this energy. But we woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Then that energy is infectious. So let's change that. If we change the algorithm. But love to everyone out there. Appreciate the opportunity. I learned a lot from y'all brothers. I hope to be on future podcasts with y'all. And 5 for 1 for all for one. That's what it means. 1 for all for one or 5 for. It's not ain't about the clothes. It's about the concept.
That's real.
I want y'all to look on the screen because these brothers have been doing it since 1995. Look at the bottom and scrolling of car. Go to the website, and they have great stuff there. Please go to the website. As we've been going along, we have other clothing designers and on the screen. Check them out. You know, they're doing great things up here. But it's ofafu1995.com. Go check it out. Bill, it's on you, baby boy.
Look, it's been a pleasure, honor. This has been wonderful to hear from these brothers tonight. One thing is to share knowledge from all areas of the criminal system that we've been a part of. I've listened and have learned a few things myself, and good conversation, and that's I think this strong perspective. That's what it's about. Taking information, taking the knowledge that we each have had in different areas, and kind of putting it out there for other folks to see, to hear, and to know. I don't think none of us are what we consider experts, but we've had a career that that we've been successful, some more successful than others, and we've had some of us that have been able to finish that end of the career. Um, I like this podcast. Uh, the Strong Brothers. I'm honored. I'm privileged that y'all can consider bringing me back again to speak. Um, and it's been nothing but the bomb. Uh, I love hearing the other brothers talk about their jobs and their profession and the input that they have and continue to have out in this world. And again, I just want to thank y'all tonight for the opportunity.
Okay. All right, Bill. Derrick, it's on you, brother.
Um, First of all, I want to, like I always say, man, I salute you and your brothers, man. The job that you guys are doing and continue to do, man, is uh, extraordinary, man. You guys are giving so much, not only to me, but to other people that's been on this panel, and those that will continue to come on this panel. My wife can tell you, man, whenever Friday come, man, I'm like a kid on Christmas Day. She'll tell you, hey, well, boy, you happy, ain't you? I said, boy, I'm about to talk to the brothers tonight. And man, and you know, like I said, it's an honor and a privilege, man. You know, and the wealth of knowledge that I've obtained from everybody that's on the panel has done a wealth of good for me as an individual. And like I said, man, I salute you guys, man. I thank everyone that's on the panel, and to the Armstrong brothers, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. And you guys are y'all heaven sent, man. If you realize that or not, you guys are heaven sent, man. Y'all really are. Y'all are heaven sent, man. Because I don't know how you guys look at it, but I think you guys have saved lives, man, just by the discussions that we have and the things that we're able to get off our chest and to interact with each other. You guys have changed lives, man, and saved lives. So thank you.
Absolutely.
No doubt, no doubt. Keith, talk to us, baby.
Yes, I totally agree. You all have saved lives, and um, it's a privilege. I'm honored that you had me to come back again. Um, and it's therapy for me. Kind of like Hill was saying, it's therapy for me. And Keith, you know, when we would each wait together, we be in there sometime hours, and it'd be dialogue and talking about stuff. And what's good is that on this platform, and what's important for us black men is sharing conversation and truth, because truth is medicine, man. A lot of times medicine tastes bad a lot of times, but if you take it in and really absorb it, you'll feel better. You'll be better off later on. So that's what I get out of here. These are real conversations. These are real issues on a grassroots level. But since I was a child, I'll listen to our people, or get up there and have conversations and say, yeah, we should do this, and beat the fist on the table, and we should do that and this. And then after the speech is over, everybody's hyped and everybody go back doing the same nonsense
Same
they were
thing.
doing. Nothing's changed.
Yep.
No doubt.
But I'm sitting here now, and what I get, I'm listening to all of you, and you get different perspectives. Because I'm a guy, I'm sitting there, and I like black and white. This is what we're doing, and this is not what we're not doing. But when you get that gray and all of that, and you start explaining to me, I can see your different perspectives. That helps me.
Yeah.
That helps me. So this whole experience, especially tonight, this was awesome because I learned a whole lot, and totally different perspectives, things I had forgotten on the detention side. I was fortunate enough to be on both, and I was training people. I used to tell them that I said, look, I tell deputies that I said, you keep in mind, man, if something happens in that detention center and enough of those officers go down for some reason, they're injured or whatever, God forbid, you just became a detention officer. You a detention officer. So when you go in there, get you know, don't go in there arrogant, like you dropping off some dirty laundry to get dry cleaned or something. You go in there and you treat them with respect. And I say, because they will treat you with respect, and we working together. Don't you think for a second we ain't working together. And they give us all the support we need. And they sit there, take care, and babysit that bullshit we bring in.
Yeah.
I said, and I've been on both sides, so please don't do that. And I always emphasize that when I was training people. But not to get off on all of that, but I'm just trying to say I have a high respect for everyone, especially ones doing you guys dealing with juveniles. Man, that's a blessing, and that's a blessing on your life.
Oh,
But
yeah.
those kids need you, and the one you go in there, and that's the biggest headache that you may see is the biggest headache. He crying for help, and y'all there for him. So even though it looked like you just you scooping a bucket of water out of the ocean and tossing it on the sand, that's one bucket, that's one scoop of water out of the ocean. So you are making a difference. So hang in there and keep doing what you're doing. And I salute, uh, yeah, Damon. What I wanted to say earlier kept slipping my mind. I have the highest regard of what you were saying. You did it for a while, and then you recognized, hey, this I've seen enough, and this I've seen enough, and I've done enough. This is all I need to do with this. I'm gonna find me something else to do. Them jack wagons in Memphis should have done that.
Yep.
Okay, the pay is great, or whatever it is that drew you to it. But hey, I got this urge that I want to get together with some other folks and just ride around the community kicking the shit out of people. Come on, man. You
Yeah.
go find you something else to do. Go down to the gym, train boxers, UFC fighters or something. Get it out your system.
If you
Hell,
gotta
go join
turn
the
into
game.
a monster, if you gotta turn into a monster for no fucking reason, that's
Yeah,
a problem.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Get out, resign, and get you some damn colors. Get in the game. Start your own game. 5-man deep. Get in Memphis and go do it.
We said, this is not for you.
All right, look. First and foremost, the men and the women that I asked to come on this podcast, I hold in high regard. Period. This ain't no jackleg shit where I just choose somebody. Come on, no. These are people that I've had relationship over years, and I'm so grateful to you for even thinking about coming on with me and my brothers. That is real. There's no, I'm not souping it up. I'm not blowing no smoke. Thank you. All right? That's real. Because you know why? I want to hear from you. I want to hear because over the years, my experience with you guys, you've said some shit that I know everybody else need to hear. This is why I invite you on here. Real quick, Damon, take us home. And once Damon's done, guys, just stay on for 5 minutes, right? And then we're gonna go from there. All right.
From the beginning, I said I'm on here to learn. You know what I'm saying? So whatever preconceived notions I had, I put myself in the position that I was willing to listen. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people gave y'all or give y'all that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? You can still hold on to your convictions, but willing to listen, and maybe it might change your thought process. You know what I'm saying? I know for a fact, man, that your profession requires a certain mindset, a certain human being to do it. Everybody can't do the shit. Everybody can't do it. And I think administration and society needs to recognize that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you weed people out. You know what I'm saying? Who has that ability, man, to maintain their integrity, their humanity, and all that? Who has the ability to do that? And that's how you are able to weed people out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, because I've never done the job. But I do know that. I do know this, man. And this is my belief, my total belief, man. You got 8 billion people on this planet, man. And God's biggest miracle is that none of us are exactly the same. All of us have something to bring to their perspective profession, which is personal. And all y'all talked about your own personal things, and y'all humanized yourself in your position, in your profession. Y'all humanized yourself. And if I'm tribal, I'll find a reason to go against it. But if I'm about you as a human being, I understand your longevity on the job, your professionalism, and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And in that, I recognize that, damn, I couldn't have done that shit. But you did. But you did. And that lets me know that you have a story to tell, which makes you human, which makes you special, what gave you purpose, your purpose on this earth. You don't do it 30 years plus on the job or 20 years plus on the job and that not be what your purpose is on this planet. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that, man, because it provides money and a good life. It's people that quit jobs that pay high salaries every day, man, because they can't do it. They can't. Because it goes against their constitution or it goes against whatever. But y'all, I salute y'all, brothers, because y'all was able to do it. And that's something that I can't, being honest with my own personal self. I'm like, I don't know how the hell y'all did that shit. Balance the job and your personal life. That's
Right.
deep, man. And I don't think the society at large give y'all that understanding, man.
All right, man. Great job. Way to bring it home. This is a Strong Perspective podcast. If you're new to our podcast, go to our YouTube channel, Strong Perspective Podcast. Like, share, and subscribe to our shit. We got a lot of good, great, wonderful content with these brothers that's on here now and other brothers and sisters that's on here now. Next week, we got an all-woman panel along with me and my brothers, and we talking about men and women relations.
Lord,
What do they? What do our sisters see that we're going as a community? We about it. And then the fourth Friday in the month, we're doing the same thing for the brothers.
Oh, so
So
we'll hear
make
the
sure you
truth.
tune in because this is the business we got. Now, what you say, Fluke?
I didn't say shit.
I said, oh, when you gonna bring the brothers on, so we'll hear the truth to clear up that shit from the last next week.
Damn right. You got to hear something.
So I can say
But
that
look,
because I won't be up in there.
listen,
I ain't got shit to say. I'm gonna let them talk and they'll
thank
be
you
like,
guys again. Jaquari, we know your phone died on us, but great,
"Hey,
great damn commentary, brother. And this strong perspective podcast. Thank you, Dre. Derrick, thank you. Keith, thank you.
hey, appreciate y'all,
Phil,
brothers,
thank you,
man.
brother.
All right.
Real brothers,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah, no problem, no
Appreciate
problem.
y'all."
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
And look, and y'all always welcome on our shit. Just let me know.
Okay.
All right, this strong perspective. Damn. This is Strong Perspective Podcast. This Friday is over for us. Good night.